This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Talk about stepping up. Bang! Bang!
It's time to level up your game. Introducing the all-new ESPN app. All of ESPN, all in one place. Your home for the most live sports and the best championship moments.
The electricity is palpable.
Step up your game with no annual contract required. It's the ultimate fan experience. Level up for more on the ESPN app or at stream.espn.com. Sign up now.
This Labor Day, say goodbye to spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with WashableSofas.com. Featuring Anabe, the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $6.99, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabe's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through Labor Day, get up to 60% off site-wide at WashableSofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? When you buy business software from lots of vendors, the costs add up and it gets complicated and confusing. Odoo solves this. It's a single company that sells a suite of enterprise apps that handles everything from accounting to inventory to sales. Odoo is all connected on a single platform in a simple and affordable way. You can save money without missing out on the features you need. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Cover the Vikings for The Athletic, and I am here at the fair in for Paul Allen, who is in Nashville. He is there for the game that is being played tonight. Traffic was nuts. Glad we made it. I was worried about you, honestly. I was worried about myself. I'm sitting here. I don't know how to run the soundboard, so.
I mean, I'm making the Zach Halverson Hermantown thing look like a breeze.
Yeah,
like it was that. That's how tired I am right now, and I'm trying to power through.
Yeah, I mean, your head's got perspiration on it. So a couple weeks ago, we're in the suite at the Viking Stadium, preseason game 1. I mean, it's the nicest suite. If people who don't know, they got like ice waters, buckets of soda. I mean, it's jam-packed in there with everything you want for PA and Chad Abbott and the whole crew. Chad Abbott, who directs this thing, he may or may not be listening. He goes, "Do you want to host for PA at the State Fair?" And I thought he meant like, do I want to step in like in a dunk tank? Like that's something PA would do, right? Sure. But no, he's like, you're going to be the actual host at the fair with the live audience, something that I've never done before. I have done some hosting, but I took him up on it, and I'm trying to think, like, what can I do to get ourselves through this show? Like what kind of bits can I have?
We've got the segment checkoff thing here. Maybe we do it in honor of PA.
Absolutely. If that works, that'll get us through. But I'm thinking I could go Dan Barrero and just have the iguana guy for 2 hours, and that would be a great way to.
Sure.
I mean, I was listening yesterday, and he's got a guy bringing a python to him. I'm listening to Garzi getting a little concerned. I think the tortoise bit somebody.
Halvey did the tripod just to get out of the way. Which, by the way. Respect.
Honestly.
I wouldn't have done it either.
But if they'd brought the animals, then I'd probably run out of the booth, so then you'd be hosting. So we're not doing that. I had some other ideas. I thought like wearing a PA wig, that would probably get some laughs. That's what you're trying to do. And then I decided, nope, not going to do any of that. We're just going to talk about Vikings for 3 hours, mixed in with some other stuff. And it's going to be a very, very fun show. Looking forward to it, as always. We're going to have PA in the next segment from Nashville, try to figure out what he got into last night. I saw him post a selfie video on Broadway. He's doing the skull chant. Like this guy's ready for week 1. He was on the practice field, PA was, last week just talking my ear off about the kick return position. I'm like, is he okay? It was like a broken record. He couldn't stop talking. But we're going to have him in the first hour here. And then we're going to, John Krasinski, who covers the Timberwolves for The Athletic, one of my colleagues, one of my mentors. He's going to be out here. I was surprised we could get him out here in person. He doesn't do Barrero in person, so I mean, really fortunate that John's going to be out here.
That's
going to
be you've got.
Yeah, it's exactly right. Yeah, that's the whole 10 o'clock hour. John will be out here, and then in the 11, Mike Mussman, who loves making fun of me pregame when I can't find the radio booth in whatever stadium we are in that weekend for a Vikings game. He will be here for the 11 o'clock. So can't wait for the entire show. Hopefully some people bring some kind of food. Like I was lying in bed last night, knowing that I was coming out here, and I'm just looking at all the stuff. I've been out to the fair before. I like the fair. I'm not one of those people who's frustrated. Now the traffic this morning, I was ready to probably slam my steering wheel at some point, but hopefully, whether it's fried pimento cheese, whether it's pork on a stick, somebody brings us something that will be fun. We will kick some Packer stuff around with you throughout the course of the program, because of course that's what everyone sitting here and listening wants to hear about.
I didn't want to, but since you mention it, might as well.
Absolutely. But we're going to begin here with the most pressing question in Vikings land right now. You know what it is?
Is Max Brosmer QB2?
Absolutely. No. It's the punter. No. Who are the Vikings going to add at receiver? That is a question I've received from family members, from friends, from PA, from other people. They want to know what the Vikings are going to do at receiver. So the people listening, both here in the audience, thank you guys for being here, and driving around in your cars, wherever you're listening, you're probably asking, why do they need a receiver? Like that's probably the first question you want to ask. And I phrased it not that like, are they going to add a receiver, but who are they going to add at receiver? And that is purposeful, because I know that this team in the next few days before cut downs, or maybe even right after other players are cut, they are going to add a receiver. Oh my gosh. The team has been in the market for days now. They've called around. There have been a lot of names floated. I've had people ask me which names. And I'm afraid to stoke the flames like crazy.
There's one that Rubes want. And I'm sure you have it written down.
This is the first segment here. So the people asking, why do they need a receiver? The Addison suspension, that is obvious. He's going to miss the first 3 games. And then Jalen Naylor, probably the reason that pushes this to a level of this team being in the market as active as they are right now is Jalen Naylor. The Vikings' number 3 receiver, he jammed his hand on the Thursday joint practices, and he has not been out on the practice field since then. So, how much time is he going to miss? Is it going to be 2 weeks? Is it going to be 3 weeks? Is it going to be longer than that? We will find out. And then beyond those 2, you have this group of players, all right? Ty Felton, who's a rookie, Ja'Shawn Jones, who's never played in a real NFL game.
Great name.
Tim Jones, who's played in three NFL seasons, but he has like 18 career catches. Thayer Thomas, he's been with the Vikings, interesting player, but has never played an NFL game. Lucky Jackson, you're not starting a season where you're wanting to integrate your quarterback well, with that group of receivers. So you need insurance. That's the why behind this. I cover this team today. I talked to a lot of people. I wouldn't expect like a major spend on a big time, you hear certain names. Like I wouldn't expect that, partially because you're going to have Jordan Addison back next to Justin Jefferson with TJ Hawkins in the fold. But it is important enough that I do expect them to spend some amount of draft capital, some amount of money.
Well, I was about to say they just did what was essentially a salary dump with Harrison Phillips.
Absolutely.
They've got money to play. They had money before the salary dump.
Yeah.
They do more now.
And we'll get into the Harrison Phillips. I'm going to ask PA about that in this second segment. But the name that everyone probably wants to hear, the name that I've gotten questions about, is obviously Adam Thielen. I don't know if you know this, but he was undrafted.
Where's he from?
Yeah, he's also from Detroit Lakes.
Oh, okay.
He played for the Vikings for 9 years. In 2023, the Vikings released Adam Thielen mostly to save money. At that time, their quarterback was Kirk Cousins. They were paying him a lot, and to build the best roster possible, they needed as much cap space as they could get. Now, Adam Thielen, I did a lot of digging last night because it's a name I've heard, obviously, and it's also it's a name I've heard associated with this conversation, and I also knew I'd be hosting this show. So I watched some film of Adam Thielen, I looked at a lot of the numbers, and I was pretty actually surprised because 2 years ago, 2023, Adam Thielen, 103 catches, 1,014 yards, 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's a pretty dang good year.
Yeah.
Last year, he only played in 10 games, but he had 48 catches, 615 yards, and 5 touchdowns. His two numbers I want to throw at you. Last year, his yards per route run was higher than it's been since 2018. And then his separation on next gen stats, this is an advanced metric. How much average separation do you create? He averaged 3 yards of separation per route run, which was his highest number since 2021. And so again, he didn't play 7 games because of a hamstring injury, but again, going through the numbers, watching the film, he's not, slithery. He's not explosive, obviously. But that's never really been his game. He can stack you from the line of scrimmage. He can make contested catches. He was one of the highest graded PFF receivers last year in the league. And so when you think about Adam Thielen, he knows the offense. Kevin O'Connell trusts him. He's a willing run blocker. The teammates respect him. It checks a lot of boxes. I mean, it really does. So will it happen? We will see. It's something that I'm getting texts right now as I'm standing here from our insiders, from people across the league.
You'd like to share with the class?
And we'll get to that over the course of the show. But again, will it happen? We'll see. The one thing I'll say is Carolina has a group of really young receivers. So it's Tet McMillan, who they drafted, Xavier Legette, David Moore, Jalen Cote. Why would Carolina, knowing the production that I just laid out, be willing to part with him easily? And would they be willing, in a year that they kind of need to win, to just go full youth at that spot? It's a good question. If it does happen, I think people should feel pretty good about it here, is what I'll say. You go through those numbers, you watch the tape, you know that the trust Kevin O'Connell has in him, and that stuff is important. So we will talk a lot more about this throughout the course of the show. That's what I'll tell you. I've got more. The texts are coming in from people across the league. And then any Vikings questions you guys listening have, throw those at us on KFAN, on social media. We'll get to those. We might do a live question segment with the audience here over the course of the show. PA coming up next from Nashville. And then we're going to have John Krasinski in the 10 o'clock hour. We will have Mike Mussman in the 11 o'clock. I tried to give you a chance to catch your breath.
You did great.
Brett.
Thank you.
And so, pumped to be here. I'm Alec Lewis, cover the Vikings for The Athletic. You are listening to 9 to Noon on KFAN.
This Labor Day, say goodbye to spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with WashableSofas.com. Featuring Anabay, the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $6.99, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through Labor Day, get up to 60% off site-wide at WashableSofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Business software is expensive, and when you buy software from lots of different companies, it's not only expensive, it gets confusing, slow to use, hard to integrate. Odoo solves that because all Odoo software is connected on a single affordable platform. Save money without missing out on the features you need. Odoo has no hidden costs and no limit on features or data. Odoo has over 60 apps available for any needs your business might have, all at no additional charge. Everything from websites to sales to inventory to accounting, all linked and talking to each other. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available now. Rated everyone 10 and up, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
KFAN.
This
Welcome back to 9 to Noon. I'm Alec Lewis, Vikings writer, beat writer for The Athletic, here with Brett Blackmore, in for PA, who is in Nashville.
The bat signal is out for PA.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's texting when y'all calling. So trying to get the behind the scenes folks to get us set. But before last segment ended, or right as last segment ended, you had a tweet from Adam Schefter. Have you heard of him?
Ooh, go on. I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's the senior NFL insider for ESPN. He tweeted The Vikings have inquired about trading for Panthers receiver Adam Thielen, per league sources.
Oh my gosh, can you above average at that?
He said with wide receiver Jordan Addison serving a 3-game suspension and Jalen Naylor dealing with the hand injury, Thielen could wind up starting opening night for the Vikings if they complete the trade. So that is the latest, and I was starting to getting texts kind of right around then with similar conversation. We're going to ask.
You were in the know 5 seconds before it went with the stuff.
Absolutely. Well, here's the thing, with these newsy items, everyone's kind of floating around. You're getting, texts from a lot of different people, calls from people, so it should be interesting to talk to Paul Allen, who usually hosts this show, about this. Do we have Paul right now? Paul, can you hear me?
Yo, what up, brother?
How are you, man? This is Paul.
Hey, is the marketing director in the first row?
The marketing director is in the last row.
Scan.
Excellent, good. Incognito. Now, what were you discussing about Adam Thielen?
Yeah, we were discussing that Adam Schefter just recently posted a Twitter nugget that said Vikings have inquired about trading for Panthers wide receiver Adam Thielen, per league sources. What do you think of that, Paul?
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning, Carousel Park and Falcon Heights. Well, what do I think of that is if they were able to forget Adam Thielen, Detroit Lakes go crazy. Think of Adam Thielen, tough slot guy who still gets off the jam at this stage of his career, who still can be a 1,000-yard receiver. So think of him that way. Don't think of it from a provincial standpoint. Adam is still can get the job done. So if you got Alec Lewis and you got Shefty and you got .com Tom and some of the people who matter in the newsy and breaking news world saying stuff like that consistently over a day and a half now. Well, it seems like where there is smoke, there could be proverbial fire. Now, what I would need to know on the other side is why would Carolina want to give him up? And I know they have a bevy of young receivers, but, knowing Adam pretty well, but having not talked to him for a while and knowing people around him, I think Bryce Young's turnaround last year, Adam had a lot to do with that, just kind of working with the kid and being a good receiver. So, they're heavily invested in Bryce into year 3. But if they were to trade a veteran like that, it wouldn't surprise me. Now, secondly, what would they want? And what would the compensation be? So it seems like it's very, very fluid.
Absolutely. So I saw you post a social media Twitter thing last night from Broadway. What did you, Paul Allen, get into on an off night on Broadway in Nashville? I mean, it could be anything here.
No, we stay relatively close to Bridgestone Arena, where the Predators play, and where Broadway is. So I walked down there by myself just to clear the mind and walk around to see what's going on and stuff. And I found this candy store that had, and granted, I did a show at the State Fair yesterday, so you have a bevy of options when it comes to culinary delight and or unique things in the food world. But
sure.
There, I found this candy store that had these chocolate-covered marshmallows, and so I got a bevy of those, and came back to the hotel, and just did a little studying, and here we are. Here we are at 9:20-ish, Alec Lewis time. I was pretty chill last night.
You've done these road trips now for these games for so many years, and I've never asked you this question, even though we spend multiple hours a week together, both on the practice field and on Fridays in studio and at Buffalo Wild Wings. But what makes these road trips so fun for you after all these years?
Well, that's a very interesting question. So fun would be a stretch. Simply because it's, you like one of the newer members, of the, let's just say of the ancillary part of the team. Not sure if the individual is like training camp person or not, but very, very, somebody I've known a couple of years just sat down and I was waiting for you to call and she said, it looked like you were, because I have a headband on because my hair's wild and Einstein-like fashion. She's like, it looked like you were sad because the training, the gym here in this hotel is closed until September. And I'm like, well, I haven't felt my ribs in 30 years. So, no, I'm not disappointed that the gym is closed. I'm just sitting here waiting for young Alec to call me. Because it is a Friday, which means Alec's appearance at the State Fair is provided by Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com, marathon segments or not. And so it basically is just a relaxation time. Certain times of the year it's different. We only had one preseason game this year with KFAN and Canterbury and the Canterbury Park Chapel and the Vikings job and everything going. Anytime I get to just sit around and decompress and recognize that absence makes the heart grow fonder with a lot of things that go fast back home, then I just really appreciate those situations. When it comes to Chicago, we're going to stay at a different hotel this year for the first time in, I don't know, coming up on 24 years. I've stayed at the same hotel there.
How is
at least 2 decades. So that'll be different. But it's basically just recalibrating, and that's about it.
I will say, when I see you with that headband that you mentioned just now, I often do think, like, did Paul just run like 8 miles or something? You look like an athlete when I see
Alec, we know each other well enough now to know the only thing that I run from is my past.
You're unbelievable.
And the marketing director smiles.
I want to get you on what you're looking for tonight's game. We're going to do that after this break.
Mm-hmm.
But the last question before this break, I want to ask, what did you think of the Harrison Phillips trade that surfaced? Believe that was Thursday night now. Like, I got home from the facility and the phone started to buzz and this guy played 51 games for this team, was such a...
Who are you talking about? The phone broke up.
Harrison Phillips.
Oh, yeah.
Harrison Phillips. Just what did you make of that trade?
Well, I mean, I don't really have anything novel here. It's kind of like what I said yesterday. How are we going to put this? Okay, so Elijah Williams is real. Okay, the Morgan State guy's real. Whether it's Baldy breaking him down or Alec Lewis writing about him, it's real. And it looks like they hit on one. Not that, you got Pat Williams or Kevin Williams reincarnate, but, an undrafted guy probably making the team doesn't happen, en masse, especially with a lot of teams. So that's real. And Harrison, and when I say this, I don't mean it disparagingly because, I was fond of Harrison. He was good to very good at several things. But I mean, like when it comes to getting over the hump as a defensive tackle sacker, wasn't him. Against the run, very good, but like how good when it came to getting doubled. Batting passes at the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. I think he had 4 last year. It got better, but can it even be better with somebody else? And then you get the money component of it. So it seems like the strength of the team is the depth of the defensive line, and it's also a place they can save a couple of dollars and maybe maneuver for other players if they're so inclined. I think all of that played into it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair take. And that, I mean, just the defensive line depth. I don't know if people realize how much the people internally with the Vikings think of Jalen Redmond and the step that he's taken, and then you also add in your Levi Drakes, your Taki Tamais. The group is just stacked. All right, we're going to preview this game quickly when we get back from break. You're listening on 9 to noon on KFAN here with Paul Allen from Nash Vegas. I am Alec Lewis.
This Labor Day, say goodbye to spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with WashableSofas.com. Featuring Anabay, the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $6.99, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through Labor Day, get up to 60% off site-wide at WashableSofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Shop now at washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Business software is expensive, and when you buy software from lots of different companies, it's not only expensive, it gets confusing, slow to use, hard to integrate. Odoo solves that because all Odoo software is connected on a single affordable platform. Save money without missing out on the features you need. Odoo has no hidden costs and no limit on features or data. Odoo has over 60 apps available for any needs your business might have, all at no additional charge. Everything from websites to sales to inventory to accounting, all linked and talking to each other. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
A treasure trove of bananas has been stolen, and it's up to Donkey Kong and his buddy Pauline to get them back. This unlikely duo is going on a world-smashing adventure, using DK's destructive abilities to explore an underground world, and the power of Pauline singing to activate wild transformations. Donkey Kong Bonanza, available now. Rated everyone 10 and up, only on Nintendo Switch 2. Game and system sold separately.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
At the State Fair.
On Mars.
We've got Paul Allen on the phone from Nash Vegas, and now we don't have him. Or is he there? Paul, can you hear me?
No, he'll have to call him back.
All right, lovely, phenomenal. All right, we're gonna talk about tonight's game. He is in Nashville, and the Thielen conversation is probably the most pressing, I would say, question as it relates to this team right now. What do you, as a non-Vikings person, think of it?
There's just a lot of things that I want to see, and there's a lot of. I just can't wait for the JJ thing to get. It's just settled in general. Like obviously it's the A topic, but I just want to see real bullets. Like we've seen him look really good in the preseason. Several times. But I want to see, actual, you're in the trenches now. There's no bailing you out. And also I want to see, we talk about the receiver. TJ and JJ, can they actually bear the entire load? Because if they don't go out and get a Thielen, or they don't go out and get some supplemental help, they're basically going to have to, and that's going to be it. So now if you want to have one guy to bear the entire receiving load, I think you would probably pick Justin Jefferson out of the entire league. But still, it's a challenge, and he could just get bracketed or double covered and over the top help with safety, and then you're looking for your other guys.
Yeah, one of the other things with bringing in a guy like Adam Thielen would be, what does that mean for Jalen Nailor once he gets healthy? And Jalen Nailor's in a contract year. The expectations for him prior to this hand injury were pretty high. I've been on the record, both in writing, that Nailor, he hasn't had the best training camp, but I think we've got Paul Allen back from Nashville. Paul, what have you thought of Jalen Nailor's camp?
It's been middling, in knowing last year that in preseason games, I think all of them, that Jalen Nailor was, he was kind of the featured receiver, where it was important to O'Connell with the quarterbacks used to feature Jalen and give him a chance. And they did that last year, but like that drop at the LA Rams and some like the muff punt and everything, it's that stuff's kind of becoming real, where there are drops in training camp, now he's hurt and stuff like that. So yeah, it seems like a bit of a regression from last year.
Yeah. You guys are going to be, obviously, on the call tonight in Nashville. Vikings-Titans, final preseason game on the Vikings audio network. Paul, what are you most looking forward to watching tonight?
Max Brosmer play. After you sniped me with before I did my audio interview with Max Brosmer, and you were like, because I was walking away with him to do that chat, and I had it set up. You're like, you might have asked one or two questions. 15 minutes later, I'm like, Alec, are you kidding me? This is unbelievable how long you've commandeered the quarterback. And the marketing director smiles. So I'm looking forward to watching him play and seeing what O'Connell does this evening with the quarterbacks. I can't see McCarthy or Sam Howell playing. Well, certainly McCarthy, but I can't see Sam Howell playing tonight. Maybe being the emergency 3. But if Rippon were to play, it wouldn't surprise me. But I'm going to be interested to see how he does it, because I just don't envision, hey, you get one half and hey, you get one half. So that. Secondly, in going back and looking at Miles Price's kick return, the one he got caught, and the punt return, and then watching some practice this week, I'm interested to watch him with returns tonight, because I think the job probably is going to go to him, but this is again undrafted guy making the roster where, when you come into it, you think about the 53 man, you don't necessarily think that, you're going to be having to use multiple undrafted guys on the active 53. So I want to see what he does tonight. And, I'm sure other things will pop up during the course of the game, but the steam, so to speak, here in sultry Nashville is that the Titans are going to play a fair amount of their ones, at least 2 series tonight. So I can't see Tony Pollard or Calvin Ridley or maybe Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, I can't see guys like that playing tonight, but I do think we're going to get a steady dose of Cam Ward and some of these younger. They might be the youngest team in the league. But they want to play most of their first offensive line. They want to play Cam Ward, the first overall pick in the draft. And so that would be exciting. That'll be kind of intriguing to see how the Tavares Thomases and Halassis of the world handle the first overall pick.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Cam Ward. I don't know if you got to watch him at Miami. The guy's absolutely electric. So
that's what I hear.
It'll be curious. You mentioned Miles Price, and we'll get you out of here with this. I have talked a lot, both on my podcast, in writing, about just the lack of faith in the returner situation and special teams in particular. How concerning, how much do you have your eyes on just the returner situation and kind of the uncertainty around, even if it's a Miles Price, this guy's never done it at the NFL level. So, how much does special teams concern you? Am I overdoing it?
No, who has though? I mean, unless they're, I think you said it or somebody tweeted it, but, if they make moves for multiple receivers, not just one, multiple receivers with all the cuts coming next week, or finding a corner who has returned kicks, something like that, kicks or punts. It's a quagmire. They can say it's not all they want. And I hear a lot of that, they're certainly not going to boil over with panic before a preseason game or 2.5 weeks before the regular season. But nevertheless, Ty Felton returned 6 kicks in 2022 at Maryland for 25 yards per. And then he dropped one at US Bank Stadium. Miles Price, he did it. He's probably the most accomplished. He or Silas Bolden, but Silas didn't return kicks as well as he did punts, where he had a couple of punt return touchdowns. But, ever since he kind of went free will on it in the Texans game, well, now they're not really using him back there that much. So it seems like it's Miles Price's money, but I think you hit the A topic, buddy. With, when it comes to the bright lights of Monday Night Football, what all these kids grew up watching. And yes, that is Soldier Field. And yes, those really are the Chicago Bears from the NFC North. And yes, that really is, Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen and all that. I mean, that's real, man. And it's hot. And it's pressure filled. It's not for everybody. So, I'm not necessarily saying that it's going to polarizingly define itself tonight. But nevertheless, I think it's a quagmire. I'm wondering what's going on with the punting situation. I know they like banana ball guy, but they also know Ryan Wright has done it before. So I think that's a little bit in flux.
Agree with you. PA, thank you for hopping on the phone from Nashville. I want to hear from the crowd for Paul Allen, who usually hosts 9 to noon. PA, thank you. Enjoy tonight.
Appreciate you, brother.
Here we are. Brett, how are you? You're dealing with a lot of technology stuff. I'm feeling a little...
I just found out that we have a brand new spanking computer out here, which is lovely. I love that.
It's beautiful.
But I had a lot of shortcuts and things to help us out so that I'm able to both control this and control things back at the station. And they have vanished, and they are gone. So we're just going to go as we go. Today, we can do this conversation too. The worst traffic. I've been out at the fair. I'm not a grizzled vet like Muss, but I've been out here for at least 3 or 4 years now. By far the worst I've ever had. I couldn't use my parking pass.
Look, I don't know.
Get there.
I don't know if the most exciting radio. The people here are listening. They know the traffic was abysmal. I don't know if it's electric, but it was.
It's fair radio.
I did a dead sprint here, and I've been before, but usually it's like at night, and I'm it's one of the last weekends before games start and the life ends. So you're having a good time out here. You're not really about to do work, but yeah, it was wild, and I don't even know why it was as bad as it was, even though I see a lot of people out here at the fresh squeezed lemonade stand.
Yeah. I could walk through my trip, or we can just do football, but let's just say there was like 5 different detours. I had to U-turn several times. There was one point where, I was around the fairgrounds at like 7:45, and I thought that'd be like, I can park, give me all the time in the world to walk in. And there was at one point where I decided, this isn't moving. I'm literally stuck here. Made one turn, and my ETA on my app said, 9:06. I'm like, what has just happened?
Crazy.
All of a sudden. So then I'm going through neighborhoods. I get a Lime bike. You can't park. Fun fact, can't park Lime bikes within, so close to the fair. So I had to go back out away from the fair to then park the Lime bike to then come back into the fair, and then I sprinted the entire way.
That's why you came up here, and you were dripping profusely, like you were working out like PA with a headband. The one thing that he did say that I found pretty interesting, there was a lot there, but I'm with him in that tonight. I do think the returner situation is a conversation here locally, with this team that is worth talking about. And I said it to PA, but I've been very forward going back to the spring and even before free agency that this team, as a punt returning unit and as a kick returning unit over the last, 3 years that I've covered, Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi Adofo-Mensah's time here since 2022, they have ranked at the very bottom in the NFL in average yards per return from a punt standpoint. Last year, they averaged 6.9 yards per punt return, which was the lowest 32nd in the NFL. And so I know it is punt return, and you care about offense and you care about defense, and that stuff win games, absolutely. But these, you know this as well as I do, watching every single week. These things, you win or lose on the margins of these games, and so if you can create 8 extra yards, 10 extra yards, put your team in a more advantageous spot from a field position standpoint, you're going to give yourself a chance of making these margins go your way. And so, like PA said, he thinks Miles Price is probably the leader in the clubhouse. I would say, it's probably 50-50 for me, where I feel like if there is a waiver opportunity, if there is, a potential trade for a low-round draft pick or something to find a returner, cut or that another team wants to move on from, I still think that's a possibility beyond the conversation we've already had about Adam Thielen.
Well, I'll ask you this. What is more, because entirely correct, and special teams changes the game. Trust me, I've been burned by it more times than I can count. But what is more cliche, the traffic was so bad getting in, or saying the win-loss margin in the NFL is just so tight. You know, I mean, they're right up there with each other.
Like every time I watch these games, though, like that is one of the factors. Like it can be field position. It can be
100%.
Like turnovers decide these games so often. So yeah, it is. I mean, obviously it's cliche. The park.
Well, yeah, but it's true.
But it just it's the same situation. I the other aspect that I would want people listening to this, both here in the audience, and thank you guys for being here, and folks listening to the radio. The other thing I would want people to think about is kick returns in the NFL this year are different. Like the touchback where you begin on the 35-yard line, it is a play that people inside the league think really can dictate some of these games. And the Vikings have entered this thing going back to when they drafted Ty Felton, the Maryland rookie receiver. Like they feel like he is the guy for that play, and I understand why, because he has the speed, he has the size, it's a physical play, he can probably absorb the bumps and bruises. But the thing about Ty Felton, and PA said this, is he's just never done it, and so you're relying a lot on a player for a critical play throughout the league who's never done it before. So again, I think if there is an opportunity to find a guy who can do the punt returns and do kick returns, it just would make sense over the next few days. Now, the funny thing is I've had some people ask me, they're like, what about Isaiah Rodgers? This guy who's going to be this number 2 cornerback, he's an elite returner. Will they put him back there? And I think Brian Flores would put up a pretty good fight to make sure that his number 2 corner is not also, finding himself in the physicality of that play.
Have you ever tried to catch a punt?
We stand on, it's a great question. We stand on the practice field like every day throughout the year, and that's like the 15 minutes of practice we get to see is punt returns and kick, and we get bored, it's November. We've seen these practices 5 days a week for 3 months, and that's the media conversation is like, hey, do you think you can catch a punt? When can they allow us to catch a punt? But there are stories that some of the older media members tell about, like, one year there was a beat writer who wanted to catch a pass from Dante Culpepper, and Culpepper hums a pass. I mean, it hits him right between the eyes. So, you look at me. You think I'm not going to have any faith that I could possibly return punts effectively.
So one time I was home, and a friend of a friend was a punter for Drake in Des Moines. Okay. So D2, and they're like, I just need someone to shag the balls. Like, can you just button bar? So can you and your friend come out and help? So we were trying to catch these punts. Granted, this is a D2. This is not an NFL. You're bombing it. This is just a normal run-of-the-mill D2 punter. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I've played horrible, sports growing up, and you can catch a pop fly. Nothing like it. It was so difficult because it's basically a knuckleball every single time as it's coming down, and that's just a D2 punter.
Yeah. And not to turn this into special teams radio, but PA also said he's curious about the punter spot, and Ryan Wright going up. Ryan Wright's punted here for 3 years. The numbers with Ryan Wright, specifically from an accuracy standpoint and being able to place the ball inside the 20, just have not been good, and so they went out this spring, and they found an undrafted Aussie named Oscar Chapman, whose name, Kevin O'Connell, I'm not sure how well he really knew after the first preseason game. But the biggest thing with the punter is, like Ryan Wright, can they establish confidence from Will Reichard, the kicker, that they will be great as a holder? And Oscar Chapman has done that over the last couple weeks. So similar to like punt returner, kick returner, I still see the punter position and Oscar Chapman as very capable of pushing Ryan Wright for this job. Like I have to do after the game tonight, and if you're listening, I'm Alec Lewis. I cover the Vikings for The Athletic. PA is in Nashville, and Nordo is on an exotic retreat, it sounds like. I'm here with Brett Blackmore from the Fair, and I've got to do it after the game tonight. Between the Vikings and the Titans, the third preseason game, I've got to do a roster projection, and I'm tempted.
Which roster projection? Is this number 5 or 6?
I think it's number 3. I didn't do one early this week because I just, you do enough 53-man project. It's like brackets. Like, how many brackets can you actually do before you're, I will say, I do love that. When
you're going to hit one eventually.
Someone does 8 brackets, they're like, my bracket's great. Which of the 8? Like, it's not really, but the thing I would say is, like, I'm tempted to put Oscar Chapman there. We'll see how he performs tonight.
I have a writer question for you. So
Okay.
I imagine you're watching from here. You're
Yes,
You're not catching
not from the
flight
fair,
to Nashville?
but no.
So how does that, does that affect, I mean, you'd probably much rather be there in the press box. It is preseason, so, and I'm not going to throw the Athletic under the bus for not, footing the bill for you to get down there. But, how does that change things for you? Because, you can only watch so much. You can watch the TV, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You're not going to see the other extra stuff. You're not going to see all 22.
Admittedly, I will say this. The Nashville Tennessee Titans Stadium press box is the best vantage point in the league.
Is that
so?
Right?
It's great, but I prefer to have a more quiet weekend than to do the travel that I'm going to have to do many times throughout the course of the season. So I'll be watching from my couch just like every other person and taking notes and trying to watch Max Brosmer. And I mean, you laughed when PA mentioned Max Brosmer, and I get why. I mean, he's obviously the local guy, played with the Golden Gophers. And I'll tell you this, I've talked to a lot of people over the last week who have been around him and who are internally, people who work for the Vikings. And it is nothing but rave reviews about this guy. And I he went undrafted, and I texted an NFL scout the other day. This was last week. And I said, this was how I phrased it. Dumb question. How did Max Brosmer go undrafted? And he texted back, actually a great question, because what he's shown is a processing ability, is a quick release. So I actually, for a third preseason game, you're usually tuned out, even if you're in the press box. I think people think sometimes that we're just absolutely locked in up there, but for a preseason game, it is difficult. But I'll be curious to see, is Max Brosmer progressing in rhythm, being as accurate as he's been? Because even on the practice field, there was I think it was Tuesday, the Vikings ran 2-minute drill in practice, and Brosmer was just getting the ball out quick. He was accurate. He moved the ball right down the field. Now, it is the number 3s against the third-team defense, but the guy has talent, and I think mentally he rises to a certain level. So you probably laugh, and I think a lot of people here laugh about it, but the more you talk to people internally and around who have been around Max, the more you come away. I talked to Eric Galco, who's the director of the East-West Shrine Game, and he sits with all of these college prospects, and he said the one guy Max reminds me of is Brock Purdy. And he legitimately said that. And that is lofty. But I think there is something to the mental aptitude, the processing ability that gives Max a chance, at a level that is as difficult as this one is.
Yeah, it almost started as a bit with Barrero, right? It was Max Brosmer, here we go. One of us.
Classic day, yeah.
Despite him not being from here, but he's a Gopher, so therefore he's honorary one of us. Meanwhile, Barrero's been here for longer than I've been alive, not one of us. But I digress. So he's one of us, so it started as that. And then it just became more and more real if you listen to this program 24 hours ago with Fleck, Grimm, Guardsy, it sounded like Max Brosmer never missed a single pass and never missed a single read. He was the greatest quarterback of all time by the sounds of the program. So the hype is real. Now I understand they have a little vested interest in the Gophers, but besides Gopher people, they're saying that he could be the legit, at least number 2.
No, I mean, the interesting thing about Max is he comes out of high school in Georgia. I believe he played at Centennial High School and had no offers, and ended up, he went to New Hampshire, but in the last minute, he was actually flying to New Hampshire. Kirby Smart, the head coach at Georgia, takes a helicopter to Centennial High School to offer Max Brosmer a walk-on opportunity. And so Max gets a call. He's about to board a plane to go to New Hampshire to visit with the coaches there. Hey, Kirby is here to see you. And Max is the loyal type of guy where he ends up going to New Hampshire. And then after he performs in New Hampshire, he enters the portal. A lot of people around him thought he'd have a ton of opportunities. And then the only opportunities that existed for him really were the Gophers, Wake Forest, and Minnesota really believed in him. And I talked to Greg Harbaugh, the offensive coordinator of the Gophers, last weekend. And Greg's if we don't get Max Brosmer, I'm not sure if I'm still in this job talking to you. So the lofty nature. And the only other thing I want to say about Max, because he is going to get a ton of time tonight, and I can't wait to watch him, is if you are one of the people who are on social media and you watch Vikings highlights from practice, I'd ask you to go back to some of the highlights that you've seen of J.J. McCarthy and look in the background, and you will see Max Brosmer standing there going through the play and the reads as if he's like playing an imaginary play in his head. And he's the only guy who does it, and you can see it in the background of all of these videos. And it's just so interesting. For him, like, his strength, the thing that he's cared about most is, like, can he have the edge mentally? And you heard very early on with Kevin O'Connell in April, Kevin was like, this is one of the smartest young players I've ever been around. And Kevin, you know, this offense is complex. It's not easy, and Max has picked up on it. So, like, as much as we joke, I really can't wait to watch him tonight. And it's not going to be perfect around him, but it wasn't perfect around him at New Hampshire. So, a lot of praise and a lot of hype for Max Brosmer. And I hesitate to be that lofty when I'm talking about a guy who was undrafted, but I've spoken to enough people that give me the faith, that Max Brosmer is just an intriguing talent. All right, we are here at the fair. I'm Alec Lewis, cover the Vikings for The Athletic, in for Paul Allen, who's in Nashville for the game tonight, here with Brett Blackmore. And we have a guest coming up for you in the 10 o'clock hour. His name is John Krasinski. He is a colleague of mine at The Athletic, and he doesn't miss. That's what I told him last night. John does not miss. We will be back after the break with John Krasinski. Thank you guys for listening to KFAN.
In the heat of battle, your squad relies on you. Don't let them down. Unlock elite gaming tech at Lenovo.com. Dominate every match with next-level speed, seamless streaming, and performance that won't quit. And push your gameplay beyond limits with Intel Core Ultra processors. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel Inside. Maximize your edge by shopping at Lenovo.com during their back-to-school sale. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
This Labor Day, say goodbye to spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with WashableSofas.com, featuring Anabay, the only machine washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $6.99, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through Labor Day, get up to 60% off site-wide at WashableSofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Shop now at WashableSofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
This is Jacob Goldstein from What's Your Problem? Business software is expensive, and when you buy software from lots of different companies, it's not only expensive, it gets confusing, slow to use, hard to integrate. Odoo solves that because all Odoo software is connected on a single affordable platform. Save money without missing out on the features you need. Odoo has no hidden costs and no limit on features or data. Odoo has over 60 apps available for any needs your business might have, all at no additional charge. Everything from websites to sales to inventory to accounting, all linked and talking to each other. Check out Odoo at odoo.com. That's odoo.com.
Every day has a to-do list, but adding Enjoy Belvita to yours can help you knock out the rest of it. Belvita breakfast biscuits are a tasty and convenient breakfast option when paired with low-fat yogurt and fruit that provides steady energy all morning. While Belvita Energy Snack Bites give you the perfect mid-morning refuel. Best part, they both taste great. So make the most out of your morning with a bite of Belvita. Pick up a pack of Belvita at your local store today.